the all-new Rover 200 series. An exciting, fresh mix of youthful, modern design with traditional Rover values.
In the 90s, Rover were doing the right kind of things. Their lineup of cars were being well received across the UK, and even motoring journalists were giving very favourable reviews to the current models. Quentin Wilson famously said, "The new 200 has charisma aplenty. It's a defining moment in Rover's history, and a dramatic shift away from Rover's traditional customer base towards a more younger and aspirational market sector of 25 to 35-year-olds. Adding later that the chassis on this car is surprisingly good.
Understanding the importance of its own people. People with flair and understanding, both for the cars it produces and the people who buy them. It is this.
At the 1997 Frankfurt Motor Show, and during a very successful 90s for Rover cars, Rover revealed the Rover 200 BRM. During BMW's ownership of Rover, heritage was considered to be one of the most important assets of the Rover brand, which was borne out with both design and marketing departments being encouraged to lean this way with their work. In 1996, Sales and Marketing Director Tom Purvis arrived from BMW with the goal of developing Rover to become a more premium proposition in the medium and executive car sectors. Rover had long since lacked a strong performance image in their product lineup, and Rover Group executives were keen to remedy this despite BMW being very wary that Rover could be seen as a lower priced competitor to its own BMW models. With the R3 generation of the Rover 200 being launched in October 1995, with its styling cues pointing directly at a more youthful market than the previous R8 models, an opportunity presented itself. What if they built a performance Rover 200 with a look linking it to the BRM motorsport machines of old? Tom Purvis put this concept idea to Nick Stevenson and Jeff Upex and suggested that a British racing green body with a flash of orange would look dramatic and catch the eyes of the younger performance-hungry consumer. Martin Peach, who was the chief designer for colour trim and special editions, led the project with help from a new designer, David Woodhouse, who would go on to be the chief designer at Ford's Strategic Design Studios. His career would see him have a hand in the designs of Cadillac, Range Rover, BMW and of course, Mini. But what if there was an alternative idea? What if there was a second design that was talked about but never made it to the public eye? What would that look like? The concept was the same, performance and heritage, but with an emphasis on performance, and the K-Series engine was central to this. Its design was light and strong, the perfect power unit for a sporty, or dare we say, sports car. The MGF had launched in '95, and this was big news in sports car circles. At last, a real MG and a mid-engine design to boot. But alongside this was something else, something comparable to the motorsport history that the designers were onto with the BRM concept. Conceived in '94 and released in '96, the Lotus Elise was here and it was sublime. Using the same K-Series engine as the MGF and the same layout, Lotus had worked their magic on the chassis, which weighed only 690 kilograms, compared to the 1090 kilograms of the MGF. This gave the Elise limpet-like road handling, a true sports car in the true Lotus tradition, and as Colin Chapman himself said, simplify, then add lightness. With the K-Series engine being breathed upon by Lotus, there was the performance, and with the Lotus name there was the motorsport heritage. And the means of greasing the wheels of this concept was the fact that Rover was supplying Lotus with their engines for this new sports car, Thus the Rover Lotus 200 concept was born. In a similar style to the BRM, echoing back to those bygone days of motor racing, the Rover Lotus 200 had tradition in its design. A stainless mesh grille, the quilt stitched leather seats, although the colour of these was to be grey or red, this was never fully decided. The odd special interior details such as silver door furniture and alloy gear knob, darker grey coloured trim parts and wheels, and of course the now iconic BRM style mouthpiece, but in yellow as per the Jim Clark Lotus F1 car of the late 60s. The performance would come from the Lotus prepared version of the K series, making it a step up from the current VI spec Rover 200s, and, as a further departure from the current trend of 3-door hot hatches, the Rover Lotus 200 would come in a 5-door version, giving you the vigour and swiftness of a hot hatch, but with the practicality of a medium family hatchback, something Skoda later replicated with the Mark I Fabia VRS, which was only available as a 5-door. It appeared fate was not without humour, as the two designs went head to head for the rights to be produced in the same way Jim Clark and Jackie Stewart battled on track. Ultimately, it was the Rover 200 BRM design that won through, possibly down to cost reasons, as it could be based more heavily on the Rover 200 VI with only slight adjustments, whereas the Rover Lotus 200 would have needed substantial adjustments to chassis and running gear, i.e. lower harder spring and shocks, strut braces, new airbox etc., resulting in a high production cost and sale price. Would the Rover Lotus have been a success? Would it have lit the fires of the youth market looking to grab a piece of motorsport history that had been brought bang up to date by sharing its DNA with a true modern sports car classic, the Elise? We will never know. As Jim Bowen used to say, look what you could have won.